We have siding materials.
No, Larry was very involved in whatever he did.
That's violate.
Survey?
Yeah, we had a different. Speech. It's, you know, sure, stuff on it.
I'll say it's close enough to 5 o'clock to get started. I'll ask everybody, welcome to the June 13 meeting of the West Hampton Beach Planning Board. I would ask you all to join me in saluting the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. We have one decision tonight, Mr. Newbell.
96 and 208 Montauk Highway LLC. Is anybody here for the applicant? I make a motion, we accept the decision as written.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Wright, 55-59 Old Riverhead Road. They're gonna bring us up to date.
For it's helpful. What, with the site plan?
Okay.
So you got it?
Perfect.
I know it's been a while, so. You guys want? Oh. Yeah. It's the same one as we got in October, you know. Okay, in one of them, so. It's the same thing. Yeah, it won't crash on paper. For some reason, every time I open that, it crashes it. Crashes.
I didn't have.
I got a few extras here. Yeah.
Members of the board, Heather Wright for the applicant. The property is 5559 Old Riverhead Road. So and it's been a while since we've been here. Last time we were here, we obtained the conditional approval from the board, and then we went to the trustees and obtained the special exception, which you should all have a copy of at this point. So I figured it made sense to come back and update the board, and I think the next step probably is to determine whether a proper case exists for requiring the park fee. So
Well, in terms of what happened with the Board of Trustees, did they make any change, just for the record, did they make any changes to what we had recommended, or
They
it's
did not.
essentially the same plan?
same plan.
Yeah. In terms of the park fee, what are our options? This is council.
Well, the code requires a park fee, but you can get credits for them, which is something we've done in the last couple of multifamily. There's special rules for multifamily. There's a way to get credit for on-site recreational areas up to 50%, including even alleyways between spaces. So usually we've asked the applicants to try to go through that
Sure. So we definitely.
process and Brad and Britton, Ron will usually analyze it and make sure they agree with the credits. So
We obviously have the pickleball court and the fire pit, which I would hope would apply towards the credit.
Well, there's a square footage calculation. So there's a square footage per dwelling unit required. Reduce that up to 50%, so you should probably have a section. Doesn't have to be on the site plan per se, but it should be a calculation where you're showing this is the area we believe qualifies, and then we'll kick around and what that square footage is.
Okay.
If we do.
are there any trails like walking?
No, we talked about this at one of the earlier meetings, and I think it was kind of banking around a little bit. And the problem I see with that is, given it would kind of run behind some of these units, so I'm not sure, the unit owners would really want people kind of walking what would be sort of their backyard. So we did talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what else. What else could you get credit for?
No, with this design, this doesn't have, there's like that alley design we did with, Rogers Avenue, but then they didn't really, that's not this design, so I think it's just the square footage of the on-site amenities and
Take out a couple of buildings. Put in the pool.
You could definitely take there's an access path that goes to the fire pit and the pickleball that's not going to one of the buildings.
Right.
I think that definitely could be included in your square footage or park fee. And if they found that they wanted to increase or decrease the amount of money they pay in the park fee, we definitely would still be interested in that walking trail if they could, landscape, put landscape on either side, just put a 3 foot, I mean, if they find that they wanna save money,
Yeah, yeah.
that whole back loop was always something that we thought would be helpful. But otherwise, pickleball and fire pit and the walkway to it, I think,
Okay.
the square footage you get.
That's up to you. The village isn't gonna go looking for ways to save.
No,
you
understood.
parking.
Yeah, so we'll come back with
Okay.
the calculations on the plan. I just wanted to get a little guidance from the board as to, sort of where you were.
I, not for nothing. I'm just not getting it, but behind Model E, there's a path of some sort, very close to the back of that building. It's the only one that has it in the back.
Well, I guess it's designed to go to the fire pit and the pickleball court. I mean, it's sort of behind Model D, except that
Where?
Model D's angled.
I just don't know, I mean, I guess from the
I
parking.
think that's handicapped. That's the handicap
Yeah.
access.
See, knew there'd be a reason for it.
But it goes, are you talking right behind?
Yeah, it seems to be like right up against, we were just talking about not having the walking paths, people get that crazy about it, so I just was wondering why that particular unit seemed to have that. But
so those buildings in the back of the manor houses, I believe, right?
They are.
They're not like your typical townhouses at the other site. It's more like an apartment building as opposed to their backyard.
Correct. So there's 10 single-family units and then the two 3-unit manor houses, which are Models D and Models E.
Did we finalize a landscape plan?
Yes.
That- What I can say is, every time I look at Timber Ridge, I'm really pleased and amazed at how well that worked out. It took some time. But that should be the standard we use going forward, because that's really looking nice. A couple years later, but it's looking nice.
What about the affordables? We gotta deal with that.
Yeah, no, we do. So right now, the affordables are located in Model E, which has the 3-unit manor units. With the top floor being like one apartment and then two side-by-side apartments.
I don't think that's gonna comply with
Don't we have
the
to?
trustees' requirement is that they have to be spread out.
Yeah, I understand, but it's on this particular plan, it's a little challenging because we have mostly single-family dwellings. So we only really have the 2 3-unit manor houses, and economically, it doesn't really work for the client to put the affordable in one or two of the 3 of the standalone units.
They gotta
That
figure,
doesn't
they
really
gotta
work.
figure something out. If that's the concept behind it is you- not to create a discriminatory system where all the affordable units are stuck into one place, which, as you point out, happens to be the one place that has a pathway right behind it, but everything else is treated differently. And Rogers went through it, Patio 3 went through it, and they spread the units out throughout, even though in Rogers' case, they decided not to go with the increased density because
Yeah.
they didn't want to do it.
And that
So,
might be the case here. Just have the conversation with the
Yeah.
board and go back to the client with his options, but we might be coming back to you with, reduced density.
if they eliminated 3 units, they could convert one of those to a community building. There's options there, but I don't think this board's hands is tied with at least the requirement that it be spread out and integrated throughout the site.
Right.
So, I mean, there's some discretion for the board to decide what that means, but not like they all have to be spaced exactly equally apart. But I don't think this board could approve something where all 3 units were stuck in one 3-unit building And
Or you wouldn't even entertain that.
Well, again, like I said, I started having the conversation with the client and I suggested perhaps we get the board's feedback. And then I was going to bring that feedback back to him and then he can ultimately decide, whether he wants to, look at that a little closer or maybe, reduce the density. Yeah. Got it. And then in the meantime, I did contact, I left a message for an appraiser, Patty Parsons. I know the board is familiar with her, so I'm waiting to hear back from her.
Patio used somebody else, but because they couldn't get her for some reason, I don't remember who it was, but they used somebody else. 'Cause she just didn't have the time to do it for whatever reason. So if you get that problem,
And I'll
maybe
look
take
and
a look.
see who, yeah. Okay.
Because I know Jim had the same issue where he was calling around trying to find appraisers and everyone was like, I'm too busy doing other things. So
Yes, Brian.
So it came up during the discussion with the trustees. I don't know if we made the resolution or not, but Steve Frano, one of our trustees, had brought up, he couldn't find the fire hydrants on the plan, and upon second look, I couldn't find them either. So there are hydrants required. If you could just ask the design professional to make sure that they're compliant with state fire code on that. I believe you're looking at least 2 hydrants on the site, but I don't see them on this latest plan.
Okay.
If we're gonna put a pickleball court, we may want some additional sound potentially, additional landscape. Because now that those, the pickleball court is up against certain homes. we don't want to- Also, it's gonna be very close to those buildings, so. You may wanna look at that.
Okay.
Pickleball players are much noisier than tennis players.
So I've read.
but not as noisy as Padel is less noisy.
What is less noise?
Padel. It's the new thing now.
Next new thing.
It's the next new thing after
really?
pickleball. It's Padel. A little quieter.
I just have a feng shui garden. That's really what. Well, I think you have some homework.
Yeah, that's great. So I will bring this feedback back to the client, and then if I could come back.
Have the information or something to
Yeah,
report.
when you
back,
will,
We'll put you on the agenda.
Okay.
So just let Megan know when you,
You'll just put me on? I don't have to pick a date now?
well, put you on the next available date. We have our traffic cops first. They tell us what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do.
it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
That's right.
We have an add-on.
The next one, so WHB Cleaners, 224 Mill Road.
Waiver.
Yeah, you're up. You've been waiting for this moment.
All day, with waiting.
For days.
Missed you.
Afternoon.
So excited, Marcus.
Marcus Stinchie for the applicant. Stinton Beach Cleaners. This is pretty simple waiver of site plan, hopefully.
Well, we were a little confused by what we received. Because it's unclear. I mean, the orientation of the whole thing confused me initially, and initially I thought you were putting that extension out into the parking lot, and then I drove by the site and I saw the lean-to over what's there. Is that lean-to coming down?
So the lean-to is not, or was not part of this application. The only part of this application was to redo the windows, the doors, the side.
Has the lean-to got permission to be there, or was that just a lean-to? Lean-to.
Brad? Megan?
I think
Anyone?
the plan itself doesn't match what was there. I don't know why we have this plan, but my understanding, and I, like Mark's and others, code enforcement wrote a violation for property maintenance, the building was rough. Marcus was gonna help him fix up the siding, but the siding was going to change. I don't think this plan reflects that, but maybe you could just describe it.
Well, let me start first. I mean, if all we're doing is putting some lipstick on the pig, I mean, are we gonna paint the garage? Is that whole area?
This is
corner gonna
only
get
the
cleaned up?
garage. I was only brought in for the garage, period. Nick Vera was the architect.
So we're gonna clean up the garage,
Clean up
maybe
the
new
garage.
garage doors, painting around the garage.
Correct.
Yeah.
New windows, new doors, new roof, new siding, cedar siding.
But isn't that on the side of, isn't this,
On Maple.
I don't see the garage at all on this drawing.
I see.
What I'm seeing is the building that's attached to the main building. Am I wrong
Can I
about
just
that?
see, can I just see?
I don't see the garage mentioned in any way, shape, or form.
Megan, is this what Nick sent you?
Yeah, that's the email.
So would you agree that this is a little confusing?
I
I see
do,
that.
I'm not,
I
I'm
see
not
your
sure
brow
what
go
I'm looking
down.
at. Let me
Perhaps
put my
it might be
glasses on.
incomplete.
Well, I mean, while we're here,
Yeah.
let's talk about the lean-to that's there. Is that something that you would like
It's gotta go.
him to address?
Absolutely. Marco?
Take a look at this
Marco, I
photograph.
happen to have the opportunity to do an on-site drive-by. It's a mess back there, as you probably know.
For sure.
Do you see
That's-
the link here? We've got that?
Oh, yeah.
There's probably all types of code violations there and fire hazards as well.
And we're
If I lived on,
enthusiastic.
if I
about that
lived on
getting cleaned up.
Maple Street, I'd be in front of the Board of Trustees on this house.
And that doesn't say anything about the
So-
garage.
So the,
Nick's working on a different project than you are.
I think Nick has to give us a partial site plan. I mean, it's not a partial site plan in the back, for just the back
Yeah.
portion to say, what do we have there and what are we doing? Cause I think it's a little unclear just from that single sheet of paper, what we're discussing.
yeah, the left elevation and the rear elevation don't look like they match to me. I don't know what this is. Unfortunately, Nick's was not able to be here.
That's probably good for him.
If he got his instructions wrong, I'm not sure, cause again, when I
Well,
first got it.
Nick was not even available, so John in his office sent this over. And, you know, we were just trying to expedite it so we could make the neighbors happy and get the garage cleaned up.
It's kind of hard to approve
more
it as a
than that.
plan when it's not even recognizable to the applicant.
That being said, cleaning up the garage is very important to us. Getting rid of the lean-to that's attached to that bump out, that's pretty important
I
to
mean,
us.
Actually, to be honest, with you, my first initial problem or concern about was how is it, if this was in fact gonna be redoing that bump out of the back, how is it gonna integrate with the rest of the building? 'Cause, I mean, why, you're gonna make the one part of one single part of the building look really nice and new and the rest of it was gonna stay the same, maybe the same.
He's already said that this is the
No,
garage.
the garage
Garage
was,
is the mission.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I don't-
absolutely.
Yeah,
What that top rear is, looks like the lean-to, and it wasn't, I mean, I was not told anything about the lean-to. Whether the architect had a
Well, there's a
conversation with the
lean-to that
client
goes
that-
out from this face. It sits right here,
Correct.
okay? This bump out is there and arguably in bad condition. But the lean-to that's on poles, there might have been a patio there at one point. I can't imagine that that's legal. And if it is, it's probably on its last legs and it's gonna have to be pulled down regardless. But again, and we're enthusiastic about this site getting cleaned up, so anything you need to do to expedite this, we're here to support you.
So what do we need to do about the garage?
We need to
Besides,
paint it
we can
inside
get
it.
you a, would you like a new site plan about what we're doing, or more than we'll remove the lean-to?
at least the back portion of the property, what you're touching. I mean, at least we know what's there. and
Well,
what's-
let's say we remove the lean-to,
Right.
right?
Clean
And
up
we're,
the bump out.
and we're, and clean up the site. I think he needs a new fence and new windows, new doors, new roof on the garage only. What do you need to accomplish that?
Drawing that shows that.
Well, I mean, at
Something
least the
in the
narrative,
narrative.
the narrative that,
Yeah.
that depicts that at a minimum. I mean, you've got the narrative working in here on the bump out, which apparently you're saying that we may not be doing it all now. But I mean, in the perfect world, you'd clean up the garage with a coat of paint, maybe windows and doors, and you'd make that bump out look good and you put a fence up. Maybe a couple flowers.
Are we removing the bump out or are we making it look good?
No, you're leaving the bump out, you're making it look good, but the lean-to that's hanging off of the back of the bump out. Would you show that to him,
Yeah.
Don? I don't think he's understanding this. I'm sure.
The picture does illustrate. Here you go, I'm passing it now.
You can see the bump out clearly back of the fence there, and you see that lean-to?
Yeah.
That's gotta go.
So what is the bump out part of, is that part of, Brad, is that?
No, look again. You see
lean-
the bump out?
I see the bump out and I see the lean-to.
Okay,
The
good.
lean-to attached to the to the
Exactly.
bump out, yeah.
Exactly.
Is the lean-to part of any approved site plan?
Or the bump out,
Or the bump out for that matter?
or the garage. But while we're at it, I mean, let's just get to me here. You got stuff to do and so do I.
For all good points,
is-
I thought we were talking about the garage, just like Marcus thought we were talking. I didn't look at the dumb plan that came in last second. So
Okay.
I
So,
appreciate the board's confusion because I'm confused.
yeah, I just thought we were getting a waiver for,
It depends on what you're-
waiver of site plan to redo the windows and the doors in the garage. So I was kind of confused on why we needed so much paperwork anyway,
No,
but
that would have just done the windows and the doors and called it a day and not talked to anybody about it. And everybody would have
But
been
we-
delighted.
what we did, but then we got referred to I mean, we could do that. We could just,
Ship it.
that's what we tried to do and we were referred,
Sell.
Village code says if you're touching an exterior of a commercial building, you're supposed to come before. The applicant knows that there have been times where the building department said, go ahead and do it. And I'm not doing it on this one because we have violations and we want to see this building fixed up. So
we're trying to do the right thing here,
he didn't-
and that's
he
why
didn't
we're here.
say, Let's paint it. He said, let's put actual nice siding on it and fix it. So, great, but because it's a change, we really should come before this board. So, but obviously this plan that was submitted last second is kind of causing more confusion than.
Now, is anybody living in that garage?
No.
An apartment?
It's not livable
occupied.
space. yeah.
Empty garage, it's just storage. It's not, no one's in there.
Just check.
Well, I mean, I think,
I-
certainly the effort here was towards the garage, at least initially, so that we know. Now, if it wouldn't be too much trouble, it wouldn't be too much expense to your client, I mean, we'd like to see, take that little extra step just to kind of clean it up. It doesn't have to be gold plated, let's.
And if you get that in here within the next, a week before the next meeting, is that okay? A week before the next meeting, we'll have a waiver ready for you, won't we?
If you can get it,
So,
yeah.
so you would like the client to remove the lean-to attached to the bump out?
Correct.
The bump out,
The bump out's legit. I think it's
Well, I use a coat of paint.
Spruce up get rid of the lean-to, spruce up the bump out, and take care of the garage,
New fence.
and a new fence.
yeah, he was planning to put a new fence.
So, I mean, if you can get that in a narrative and not really a full-blown site plan, but just enough that it shows what's what, and we can get it.
And this is what Nick does. He should be able to do that.
Is that what that is?
I don't know what that
Which
is.
is what?
We don't, nobody seems to know what that is.
This?
Is that the bump out?
Yeah, the shingle
this
and
is
the
the,
windowed thing is the bump out,
That's.
Without the lean-to.
without the lean-to, exactly.
okay, so isn't that what you want?
I want that too, yeah.
But it
And the
doesn't show-
garage.
But it doesn't show the garage.
Well, the garage,
You're gonna have to give us an elevation on the garage. to
It's not
see
on the road
What it's
map.
gonna look like.
Megan, what did I originally submit? With the building permit, there was a plan.
I gave them lists for the ARB with the materials. Because what's his name from Nick's office said that was the most recent thing. But I don't understand, if we have what he's, why don't we just act?
Well, most recent is dated 7/22/22.
You give us a narrative, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and mark on the site, just take a
We'll,
survey.
we'll remove the lean-to.
Need to say to be removed. We're gonna put a circle around the
But
bump out.
There is no lean-to shown on here, so.
No.
But maybe the survey has it, maybe not, whatever, we'll figure it out. Right, remove, replace the windows, the siding, the doors, the this and the that. We have the list of materials that you're using, and can we call it a day?
Well, we have the list of
Need an elevation
materials
for the garage.
that we're using on
Why
the,
do we need an elevation of ARBs? Give us-
we don't need an elevation.
We need an elevation.
Oh, for
Brad,
just
do
for
we need,
playing-
do we need an elevation on the garage?
You're sending it to the ARB, I'm sure they're gonna
They're
want to see
gonna-
an elevation.
Why are we going to the ARB again?
It's a change technically.
It's not. It's an update. We're not changing anything. Let's not go to the ARB. That's,
Well, he
you
gave
don't
us
wanna
the
go to-
material, I mean, the list is there, it's clear, they would agree with
Right,
this.
but,
The
but,
the
but
co-
this
wait,
plan,
Brad, could the ARB do a committee of one on it?
do they have to see it?
They can do a committee of one, but that's up to the
Planning board.
it's up to the ARB if they do committee. But normally you all refer, and if you don't like what they say, you can override them with the
Do we
supermajority.
have to refer it? We're waiving. We're not building. I'm saying let's not prolong this. I'm just saying let's,
Well, that's
try
what
to
I'm
get
saying.
it
We
done
can
by
get-
the next
but if
meeting so we can get
ARB
it cleaned up.
ARB agrees with committee of one, it's not gonna delay anything. One of them
Yeah,
comes.
but
and
they
takes
don't
it.
have any jurisdiction here. There's no reason for them to be on it. It's a waiver. Waiver.
We have jurisdiction if we say they have jurisdiction.
They're not gonna committee of one with no elevation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We would need an elevation at a minimum. And I think we need an elevation just to have in the file. Not a full.
We have a site plan. We have a site plan. We're just altering the site plan.
well, when you say a full elevation, I mean, you've got a full elevation of this. What do you want it of the garage?
Well, I mean, if.
All
or
we're doing in the garage is replacing windows and doors and kinds and a roof.
That's all that's being done. then put
I mean,
that-
I was
Put
just,
that in a narrative and say we're just changing colors and windows and doors.
if it wasn't a commercial building, wouldn't we be here?
If that's all we're doing, we're just whatever, I mean, you just.
Well, apparently we're doing something to this building too, which is news to me. I didn't. But then this is from 22, so I don't know, maybe this,
Has to come in, or Nick has to make sense of this for us. For you too.
well, this is not part of the building permit that we applied for. So there was no work to be done on the main building. I'm happy to remove the lean-to, but if there's gonna be further work done, I've got to go back to the client and say, hey, is this, are you willing to do this?
If you're here for the garage,
I was just here to help facilitate and make the place look nice. And
And we'll do this over. If there's any questions, he's here, if you're okay with the list, we could say at the next meeting on June 27th,
You have a waiver on the garage.
so that we can get the garage out of the violation and we can then back and fix.
So it doesn't have to go to ARB.
Well, I don't have an issue with the bump out. I mean, the bump out should be part of the whole.
It should be clean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bump out's removed when the garage is being redone. That should just be part of, it's a violation.
Yeah, well, we know you know how to make it pretty, just get that on paper so the board can say, yeah, we agree.
We're gonna do that a week before the meeting.
Do you see the
Yeah, so we're happy. Material's delightful.
So
Get form
garage, new fence, lean-to gone, and something about the bump out. You should be good.
You're not gonna get anything from the client as far as money goes. Do more than he really has to do. We all know this guy.
Correct.
Expected.
You know,
We're going for a little less offensive. Instead of leaving it.
Any other questions?
we look forward to hearing from you shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Different.
What else do we got on the agenda? We have minutes, May 23rd.
About West Hampton tennis and sport.
86 people.
Since when? Nobody tells me anything through it. I don't know. What's on the agenda? Not on my agenda.
No.
Uh-oh.
What's the location?
86
The
Depot
bubble.
Road.
Bubble.
Bubble.
You're putting a paddle ball in, huh?
These were adult.
Padel pool. Padel. Padel court.
All right, for those of us who are challenged in many respects, what the heck is a padel?
Smaller than a tennis court, bigger than a pickleball court. And it has, you use basically like a tennis ball, similar to the tennis ball. And it has a back wall on both sides and corners that you can play off the corners. Very similar to racquetball used to be.
Yeah.
Okay, but with a tennis ball.
And the participants are
A less
obviously
violent version of
polite.
highlight.
Well, we're doing this to give additional extra for our members, and hopefully this will include, drive more membership. So another option.
So are you just replacing an existing court? Or
No, we're not. We have a space that we can put it, and it's 26 feet away from any property zone. The closest property is another business, and it's their parking lot. So we're pretty far away from any residential area. And we're zoned light industrial.
is it more towards Depot or is it more towards?
No, it's toward the back. It's toward the back. Did you have a picture of a?
I
Yeah,
couldn't
okay.
fix it.
Well, the last row of tennis courts is actually just before that.
Maybe if this isn't over an existing court, which I thought it was, initially, new facility, that hits the parking requirement. You're gonna need more parking.
Sure you didn't want to put this in a tennis court, huh?
You did.
Are you sure about that?
Well, how much parking do we need? I mean,
Oh, 1, 2. Checking the codes now. I had another question. What are you doing with the water, runoff drainage?
for that area, there's plenty aside for the drain off.
Where does it go?
The grass, this is a grassy area.
What's the?
Not a
floor?
drainage plan.
What's the floor of the court?
The floor is, well, they have to put a foundation down. That's the cement. Could be asphalt or cement.
Footing,
In this case, yeah, in this case, it's a footing.
Mhm.
And then, it's almost like a carpet on top of that.
Like an interlock, like something like an astroturf?
Yes, similar to the AstroTurf.
Is it porous?
No, this will run off.
Parking is 4. I assume it's doubles on a tennis court. I wouldn't think, well.
We generally don't have an issue with parking unless everyone parks incorrectly.
We got a
Um,
code, so.
You're running straight into
You
code.
have parking at the end, so there actually does seem to be some room to stick.
Where do we see this?
Coming down this way, right? This
Yeah.
new little box there.
Right in the middle
Yeah.
there.
All right, so yeah, it's pretty far from Depot.
Plus, this private road is all ours, and we can park all. Besides the 110 parking spots, all this area, on both sides if we want, but we usually just one side is parking.
What business is? What's the close, you said the close stop
Yeah,
business?
this is,
Right.
I don't know, I can't remember what's here.
You
There's
say,
parking lots right there.
Hmm.
It's a new, I think they were renting.
well,
Oh, it's one of the, yeah, I know what you're
it looks like he's got more than he needs. Unless it's calculated on
talking.
the,
Is it lighted?
they have gym.
Not at this point in time, we weren't looking to do that yet. I mean, we don't have any of our courts lit because generally it's a winter. At 8 o'clock, want to go home.
He had 110 parking spaces, you probably got enough.
Yeah, we have 110 and plus, like I said, we can do 40 more all along that road. Our own road that's going down there, along that road, easily, just on the one side.
Do you have any gym facilities or something like that?
No, at this point, no. We do have like an outside gym, like on a deck, but that's it.
But did one time it have a gym or something inside, a long time ago?
Yeah, a long time ago, but we converted that to an employee lounge.
I don't think parking is an issue.
It's like 40 spaces. Double.
Do we waiver or no waiver?
Well, it'd be a modification.
Where was this, new tennis court going? The pen,
Yeah.
that doesn't look, there's four, are you gonna get four of them in there?
No, it's just one.
Be all right for what?
Any questions? Anybody? We're good? We'll go to a modification, I think, right? Yeah. Resolution at the next meeting?
Yeah,
Modification resolution at the next meeting.
Yeah,
we need to wait for return.
you want to do a public hearing, you should discuss that.
I don't see how this would impact the public beyond,
No.
you know, people it's gonna impact the people that are actually there.
Right.
And want to play paddle ball.
I'm gonna play Padel.
Well, it's the next week.
It's gonna be worth a trip up Depot
next
just to
big
see
thing.
it one day.
Gonna get a lot of paddle ball courts in there.
All right, so, I think the consensus of the board is no public hearings required.
Agreed.
Thank you. So we will see you on, well, I won't, but other people will see you on June 27th for a resolution.
June 27th.
Correct.
Same time, 5 o'clock?
You don't have to come?
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good evening. All right, number 4, St. Mark's Church, 40 Main Street. I recognize you from not that long ago, and something about the Seafield Center, and same
Yes,
effort.
unfortunately, Seafield had me hidden behind shrubs, so I had no visibility and not really able to run operations.
I had wondered actually if you had ever gotten off the ground, because I did not actually see it in operation that I could recall.
Nope, we did not. Unfortunately, it was a little bit of an oversight. Got a little excited, jumped out a little too far ahead. But I've talked to Father Chris. He's excited to, get this going. We'll be able to be seen from St. Mark's Church. I'm still trying to, fingers crossed, hopefully get in touch with Mrs. Nancy Berner. If I could use her lot, that would be optimal for me to be able to run operations via appointment only. I'm marketing with the Performing Arts Center as well. So for a show, it'd just be great if they have a 7 o'clock show. Every 5 minutes, I could take a couple of cars, shuttle them over to St. Mark's Park, use my scooters to get back, and get a little conga line going, and then accept walk-ins or drive-ins at St. Mark's. Then chauffeur them to their location, drop them off, go back, and that's what I'm doing exactly in Patchogue. In the next about 6 weeks, I should have my mobile app out, which will take the best components of Uber and mix it with valet, and it'll be a seamless experience for all.
As I recall, when we gave you the approval last time at the Seafield Center, there were some conditions or some expectations. I can't remember what they were in terms of.
Well, we made it seasonal and also Seafield
the parking lot they used was not being used in the weekend. So this would be more targeted for the weekends, but we do have a church here, which is a little bit busy on the weekends, so I guess that's a little different between.
I guess we would need to know from Father Chris, entrepreneurial soul that he is. I mean, we're talking primarily Friday, Saturday nights here.
Of course, unless
However,
there's special events, holidays, theater events.
so I'm assuming
When
St.
church
Mark's
is not in
busiest time would be
operation.
Sunday mornings. I just don't know about their Saturday evening services, which may be impacted. So I guess we would, I don't know, would we need more information from Father Chris on that? I don't know.
And the women's cancer center.
Women's
too.
Cancer Center.
I think last, it was presented to us, I don't think they were operating on the weekends.
No weekends. So.
I don't know if that's still the case.
I'm happy to abide by all of their, operations. I don't want to get in their way, of course, so.
The summer program at St. Mark's is during the day, during the week, so that's not an issue. I guess really the only question would be any church activities on a Saturday evening. Or any-
That's on you.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I was just reminded reading the Seafield that you had decided to make this an annual permit for them. And that if there wasn't police activity or any other issues, but they would have to, this would only be modification, would only be good for 1 year and they'd have to come back next year and ask for it.
Yeah, and I think because we hadn't done this before, I think the thinking behind it was, let's see how this works.
But it
I
really
mean, if you're
worked
gonna have
good at Seafield.
if you're gonna have scooters running up and down the street, I think you would wanna confer with the village PD to make sure that
It's allowed in the summer.
Not on the sidewalk, according to code, I believe, same as Patchogue, no muscular powered inline skates, skateboard, scooters, where it's considered more like an electric bicycle and must be on the shoulder and abide all traffic laws.
well,
Definitely.
do we wanna hear more from the church or we
What
just-
is your route going to be?
So as of right now, looks like we're going to be meeting our guests at St. Mark's Church. They'll basically pick up their valet and we'll chauffeur them to their location and drop them off like a regular Uber or Lyft and then get back to St. Mark's, park the car, and then I'll wait for a return.
Okay, so you're looking at Main Street, basically.
I'm gonna try to avoid Main Street as much as I can for operations.
Okay.
Will it happen? Possibly, but I'm not gonna be causing any kind of congestion.
Looking at Main Street, like you're going from St. Mark's to the different, right?
Just to,
Different places on
When you,
Main
when
Street.
you have to,
right, of course.
right, okay.
And then also if our clients may have had too much wine or to drink, we're looking to drive them in their car home and then take a ride share back or have another employee pick them up.
Are there license requirements for these employees driving
Standard licensing.
just a regular license?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, I guess if you and if the church and you are having problems with, you'll work it out amongst yourselves. I mean, it's not really our place to tell you how to.
Father Chris approached me and reminded me, hey, so do you guys want to, get that going? So I'm pretty sure he's
I-
excited about it.
I mean, I think, there is a certain amount of interest in seeing this, how it would work, and if it does work, not necessarily expanding it, but certainly making it something more,
Bible, yeah.
more permanent. So, yes, Brad.
You doing a pop-up tent? So that should be part of this too, if you're gonna.
Am I, well, I guess I would like to get some a little bit more brand awareness and, to be seen. I know you guys don't allow sandwich boards, so any type of signage I'd be allowed or
Where were you doing, this would be at St. Mark's, but you said something about Nancy Berner's office too.
as of right now, I haven't been getting in touch with her, but it's just, that's because it's in the heart of town, so it'll be less travel and they have, I believe like 8 to 10 spots. So, but I also know that they have tenants and, the shop downstairs would take priority. So I'm only looking for only a couple and I would do that by an appointment basis as well.
I think any signage is gonna have to go through ARB.
Yeah, we don't want signage, but there was a discussion, when I say we, forgive me for just cutting to the chase. I believe if you have valet attendants, it's hot in the summer, having a little 10x10 or something that has their signage, so people know like what this is. I don't think the trustees had an issue with that. It seemed like.
All right, if we're doing this on I guess if we're gonna do this at least initially on an annual renewable thing, let's see what the pop-out looks like. Let's give you a chance at least.
Thank you.
And see if something happens. If it turns into something that's gonna be season on season, then we'll worry about those details more.
Okay.
Let's not snuff it out before it gets going.
Thank you. Do you know those, they're like skinny, like flags almost? Kind of signs, would
No
that
bow
be?
banners, no,
No, okay,
bow banners. We don't do any of that stuff. No
okay, I
bow-
just wasn't
parade
sure.
sign. Gonna
Work
pop
your
up,
s-
put your
Work your social media, get your pop-up.
Yeah, we're gonna do
It'll
free
give you-
ballet night at each restaurant,
it'll
let you
give
know.
you- I think your biggest hurdle is getting those first couple of customers and getting it known that it's there. Once it's there, I think, it's gonna, you get on 27 websites with West Hampton, blah, 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 I think that'll
They
start.
wrote a small piece on me last season, but I'm also in contact with Rooted Hospitality, the David and then Rachel Hirsch. We're going to be doing a free ballet night at Rum and Patchogue to kind of go do that first, and then it should expand to one on Florida.
That'll take care of it by itself. All right, so what do we got to do here? Anything? Britton, what are we gonna write up for this fella?
Waiver
Expires this year.
next year.
We can have a pop-up, same conditions, I guess, or similar conditions as we used with the Seafield.
Yeah, we just had a massive site plan with the use variance here, so I think the year is good because, I don't, if church parishioners or the candidates, people start coming and say, hey, this guy's taking up all my spots, I'm not saying that's your intention, that's what you will do. I think it's be good to,
They'll sort it out amongst themselves. Yeah, especially since it's an annual thing, at least for now. I think that's our protection. Okay,
Great, thank you very much.
very good. So we'll see you on the 27th.
we don't have to come, but yeah,
Well, you don't have to unless you really want to.
We don't have to see, you'll get a
You'll
decision.
get our decision on the 27th.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of May 23rd, 2024.
Favor?
Aye. Make a motion, we close the meeting.
All in favor? Aye. Joy. Well, we want-